Hello everyone, welcome back. So today we are going to do Mind of Staphysagria. So the main feeling of Staphysagria is one of dignity and honor, like a person of noble birth. So this is a psychosyphilitic remedy that falls in the cancer miasm, and I have found that the Staphysagria patients have a tendency to develop cancer. So they are morbidly sensitive. The effect of this sensitivity is very deep and long lasting. They set for themselves a task which is nearly impossible. The task is to maintain their dignity despite being beaten down, insulted, and humiliated. So he feels that he should live up to his sense of dignity and honor. He should not do anything that is undignified, even though others may do so. So he should never lower himself to the other man's level. He must never lose his control, since it would be very much below his honor and dignity to do so. So if somebody insults him, he has to keep control as befits his noble birth. So he cannot lose his temper and become abusive or violent, where he to do so he would feel very upset and feel that he had done himself an indignity, and this to him would be worse than the effect of the insult itself. Hence the sentence in Fatak Materia Medica: great indignation about things done by others or by himself, grieves about the consequences, he worries about the effect of such a lack of control on his reputation. So the sentence in Fatak Materia Medica is very sensitive to what others say about him. The feeling seems to be that his survival depends upon maintaining a very high reputation and self control of being a very superior, calm, and dignified person who wins the respect of all by his noble actions. So, a person who is much above the ordinary. Staphysagria shares with Aurum a fear of heights, of falling. He should bear all the humiliation but must not respond, or he will lose his dignity. So, at a point, the Staphysagria person can find it too much to keep the control. He starts to lose it, and the first signs are found as the suppressed anger begins to surface. So, there is trembling in anger, voice lost during anger, face red in anger, weakness after anger, hemiplegia after anger. Anger throws things away, strikes desire too. So later, when the situation has become desperate and he feels the demand on him is too much, he may throw to the wind all his reputation and honor and become the opposite. So that is the person of ill repute who is looked down upon and treated with utmost disrespect. Here we have the rubric libertinism. On the physical level, there may be loss of control over muscles. He can get convulsions from being unjustly accused. Staphysagria imposes on himself a very strict code of honor and is very indignant with himself if he does not uphold it. So he has to suppress a lot of his urges, especially in the sexual sphere. So he is very timid and has feeling of guilt. He cannot express his increased sexual desire directly for fear of being hurt and out of a severe sense of shame and because of his self-respect. So Staphysagria is not one who can ogle at women. He therefore suppresses his desire, and we get the characteristic that is dwells on sexual matters. So there is also a prominent tendency to masturbation, to control the anger and the passion, to swallow the ego and hurt becomes a survival mechanism in Staphysagria. But even these fantasies can produce intense guilt that he is indulging in such fantasies and fear that it may be discovered by other people. So, this leads to an intense state of anxiety, a neurotic anxiety with feeling that somebody is behind him, and so he constantly keeps looking back. So, the need to keep perfect control, to live far beyond his capacity, makes of Staphysagria a psychosyphilitic remedy. So, the psychotic aspect is manifested in the reserved, almost secretive nature and the constant apprehension that others might find his weakness, which is losing of self control. So, this need for control is sometimes seen in the struggle to give up smoking. So, the main characteristic of Staphysagria is extreme sensitivity and reactivity at the level of both emotionally and physically. So, if you touch the Staphysagria patient at his sensitive point, which is his honor, reputation, and self respect, there will be an immediate intense reaction, though it is often suppressed. So, staphysagria is indicated in extremely sensitive conditions like a painful surgical scar or a sensitive tooth. So, in FATAC repertory, it is the only remedy listed in the rubric sensitive morbidly. Also, there is hardening to cover up the sensitivity as is shown by the tendency to styes and tumors. So, this sensitivity could be found in a plant and not in a metal, salt, or animal. In its nature, it has the softness of a plant rather than hardness of a mineral or the competitiveness of the animal. So, in my experience, I have seen that with Staphysagria, there can be two extremes. One which has such suppressed emotion where the person will tell that I last got angry 17 years ago, and the one who cannot control, as Fatak says, violent outbursts of passion, always angry. So, Staphysagria can have many fears: fear of being insulted, of being mortified, fear of being killed. He can be afraid even of his own shadow. So, Staphysagria patient has anticipation because of sensitivity to hurt. The patient apologizes for everything. If they missed their turn in the consultation, or if they have not taken the medicine for a few days and are not feeling better, they usually blame themselves for it. I recall a patient who, when entering the consultation room, paused and asked if she could leave her slippers at the door. We see here someone who is careful in finding out what is the norm of the clinic before she does anything, because she does not want a reprimand from me and does not want to be admonished. So I have observed that Staphysagria does not have the attitude of platinum. He is not outwardly egoistic, nor does he put on air like a king or a queen. I have found this person to be soft, quiet, reserved, often humble looking, but have strongly felt in their presence the need to treat them with honor and respect. Their sensitivity to being spoken to rudely or being treated disrespectfully is palpable. So, carcinosin is complementary to Staphysagria, but the carcinosin situation is caused by being heavily controlled by the person on whom one depends, whereas that of Staphysagria is caused by being insulted by him. So the other remedy is complementary to Staphysagria is sulfur. So the Staphysagria state is the one in which the person feels humiliated and insulted. Naturally, this state will arise more easily in one who originally had pride and egotism than in one who did not. So we know that Staphysagria is often followed by sulfur. In other words, a sulfur state of egotism predisposes to a Staphysagria state of humiliation. Thank you.